Congressman Eric Swalwell, Democrat of California, investigated Donald Trump as a member of the House Intelligence Committee. He prosecuted him as an impeachment matter during Trump's second impeachment trial. He says he was one of the people whose records were secretly seized, and Congressman Swalwell joins me now. It's good to have you, Congressman. Maybe let's just start on sort of the kind of facts of the matter here. What were you notified and by whom when?
Good evening, Chris. It was a random May 5 email from Apple that I almost deleted saying, this is a customer service notice that your data was turned over. And I read it, and at first I really did think it was spam, but noted, the words Department of Justice leapt off the screen, and I, talked with our House intelligence staff, and of course others had also received the same notice. And we have since learned, as the New York Times reported, that there were a number of staffers and Congressman Schiff and I who were targeted. Look, this is not about Adam Schiff and myself. It's about a president rewarding his friends corruptly through the Department of Justice, as he did with Michael Flynn and Roger Stone, and punishing his perceived enemies. And my fear is that he may not have been successful this time in locking up his perceived enemies, but a more corrupt or Donald Trump in the White House again may not be as patient and may just skip the Department of Justice and its processes and just order his lieutenants to lock up his political opponents.
Yeah, I guess that's the crux of it, right? I mean, when you hear this news and this sort of idea that, well, it went through the proper channels, that, that's both at some level, I guess, like there's some check there, but also disturbing that there were people inside the Justice Department that went along with this operation.
And that's why I support Adam Schiff's call for an Inspector General report, an investigation to understand not only was this Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, and Matt Whitaker, whoever was in charge at the time, but what rank and file prosecutors went along with this, and under what environment did they not think it was okay to resist having the communication records of a co-equal branch of government surveilled? Again, I'm not above the law. Adam Schiff's not above the law. But to me, knowing certainly I've never leaked classified information, and there was no reason to believe that I would have, to do this, it seems punitive, but it seems as a part of a pattern of Donald Trump abusing the Department of Justice to go after his enemies.
Appears there's going to be an Inspector General report, but I want to read you this response that Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii had yesterday. He said this: I hesitate to tell the other chamber how to conduct its business, but since we are in a 50-50 Senate and can't issue subpoenas without Republicans, I respectfully ask the House to not call for investigations from the executive branch, but rather do it themselves. What do you think of that?
Well, I like Senator Schatz, and I don't think he's off there. I think let's see where how serious the Department of Justice takes this. And I know that Chairman Schiff and Chairman Nadler and the Speaker will be talking about what we can do. We're not helpless anymore, certainly not in the House of Representatives. And I think we've shown through 2 impeachments a willingness to hold Donald Trump accountable. Again, I just want the public to recognize this is not a 500-year flood. That Donald Trump thinks he's going to be reinstated in August. He's running for re-election in 2024. You have a number of wannabe Donald Trumps who are just as corrupt and probably more competent. And so if we don't take steps to make sure this doesn't happen again, we could really see the complete erosion of the rule of law in our country.
There's also an incredible irony here, and I think an important one, and it harkens back to what I was saying in that monologue about rebalancing power, right? Which was a huge part of what that post-Nixon era looked like. There was this sort of moving power back towards Congress from the executive. But there's an incredible irony here, which is that having already secretly subpoenaed members of Congress and their staffs and acquiring their data, when the House subpoenaed the white Donald Trump and people in his orbit, they basically successfully stalled for years in court, essentially got the Supreme Court to more or less ratify a kind of gutting of that House subpoena power, while the executive was able to just go in and get the phone records from Apple.
That's a great point, Chris. They put themselves as a co-equal branch on higher ground than us, and they stymied our investigation into Don McGahn with the Russia report. As we are seeing with other investigations, we're still waiting for Supreme Court rulings. And also, Donald Trump, as he was projecting against Adam Schiff, calling him a leaker, it was actually, we learned in the Donald McGahn transcripts, it was Don McGahn with respect to the Russia investigation who was leaking. And while this was a national security investigation, the real national security concerns were what was Michael Flynn talking about with the Russians, and what was Donald Trump doing with himself and his family with the Russians. I will defend to the day that I die the investigation that we did on Russia that showed that Donald Trump planned for, benefited from, and received help from the Russians. And his response to that, as I said, it was punitive, it was retaliatory. And I don't think it's going to stand the constitutional and legal scrutiny that better come upon it soon.